I sure hope the limited views that I'm getting is because people can actually watch my videos from embeds or some other method that YouTube's not registering the views. Fine, okay, whatever. That in my mind, my imaginations, it would be slapping my ego on the back and saying, "Hey, nice job." Um, to see maybe even one or two views on there, in the hopes that people are not viewing things fast because there's something toxic in every single one of your videos, and they just don't want to go too far into them because it's scaring the fuck out of them. That would be the best case scenario, or they're just completely bored as hell, and the first 10 seconds was not compelling enough to listen to the rest of it. And I've been there too, you know. If it's not, if you're really not into it, it's gonna take a while. It's gonna it's gonna take months before I start seeing any views on these videos, if at all. I've got views elsewhere in my channel that where there's no views, where videos that are profound where there are no views, is because people are not digging down there. And that was something that my website was really meant to change. And the reason why they're not getting the views is anybody's guess. I think the main thing is that I'm not using the techniques that are used by other YouTubers to get millions of views. There are many techniques on how you do that. There's the illegal method. I mean, the really fraudulent method, but is not illegal, to go and get some sweatshop in India to deliver 6 million paid video views or whatever you'll pay them to send this random number of people, and it's probably not Indian people. What's probably is compromised computers throughout the world through malware that are now being targeted to not do a denial of service attack against a company, but something very similar, th- make the video counts go up super fast. Facebook and all these guys really try to counteract that stuff, but you could actually buy into somebody. I mean, with Facebook, it's when you get overnight 6 billion registers, or over a period of time, you get all these unnatural amount of people registering accounts. And then you come to the realization that there's some hacker out there that's using AI to open up accounts, got through all of your um, all your, what do they call those tests to make sure you can, um, got through those. It'll come to me. They got through those things and were able to register accounts super fast to make the names and addresses and all that shit look super authentic and stuff. And Facebook was probably not doing, were not quizzing Google's system or their map systems to even realize if these locations made sense for a place for people to live, and how they were able to get to deal with it was the realization that the majority of people that open accounts in America and stuff, it occurs during the daytime, not the nighttime, which is when it occurred. And around 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody opens up an account on Facebook. Where's that going to happen? India, some master coder in India, some master coder in China, the other way around the world, who's it's daytime, and then they go and register all these accounts because they're driven by money, not, and as a result of being so greedy, they've completely overlooked something that's going to be super obvious to the Facebook developers, because all they have to do is look at their history of, and the Indians are the companies over in India or whatever that are taking advantage racistly taking advantage of white American, what they think is white America, just attacking people and thinking that they meant, you know, this is the people we're attacking. We really hate these fuckers. Those organizations, they do exist in India. It's not a problem of the Indian people. It's a problem of certain businessmen that have figured out some way of really pursuing the money that you've got, and they've created a business and something that our incorporation or fiduciary responsibility and all this laws that we put in place to try to create, and according to the documentary, the corporation create, and what the corporation did was compare a corporation to a psychopath to help you realize all the attributes of psychopathy that are in our corporations and how it came about. So it's a real documentary, and there are a lot of business people who say, "Yeah, this bullshit. It doesn't." The lawyers will say, "Oh, this doesn't even hold up in court law," you know. But some documentary guy did this corporation and got some respectable people, some respectable liberals. Nomsky, he was in it and gave his point of view and stuff. They didn't get the guy who ended up dying. The yes men they were going to talk to. Yes men fix the world. That Jamie Johnson talked to for a while when he was doing his 1% documentary. And dang, what's his name? Friedman. He was talking to Friedman, and Friedman finally just said, "Jamie, don't bother me with this. I don't want to fucking try to put you in your place by pointing out just how fucked up you are, talking about pursuing rich people as being, you know," because Freeman was really drinking the Ayn Rand Kool-Aid, that the rich people are really benefiting the trickle-down economy that Ronald Reagan really believed was happening. The thing that I'm coming to realization, because people have told me that this is real, is that there are rich people out there that are getting dopamine hits when they save money. So the trickle down economy never will work, because there are rich people out there who get this reinforced behavior of saving money, and it's because God didn't have any, couldn't fathom. No, God knew this, but was trying to let people know that there are some greedy bastards out there, same people that Jesus had to deal with, and Jesus made it plain, and he made it pretty plain. He said, "It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter heaven." And the reason why is because if you're a rich man, which St. Nicholas was, the guy that did this great work that ended up bringing us the Santa Claus tradition, and I would push forth a little bit more to say that he didn't want to be sainted by the Catholic Church or whatever. He just, or whoever sainted him, he just didn't want it. Sainting is not a blessing, it's a curse. It's people who are revering you when it wasn't you, it was the Holy Spirit. It was you trying to do the Jesus on earth and pretty much not letting anything of yourself own it. Because if you did, it's going to stop you from going any further. What seems to the world as a positive distraction is actually a negative distraction, because it's going to keep you from doing what you need to do. So I can pretty much guarantee you that Nicholas didn't want to be a hero. Didn't want to be sainted, because somewhere down the road, about 2,000 years, people are going to have this Santa Claus story um, that's really going to support the secular viewpoint that kids um, are kids deserve Christmas presents. I mean, who wouldn't like go to that? But there are religions where people would say this is really kind of get in the way of worshiping the one that's put everything here, and you're turning to worship your kids. I'm not saying this is me. I don't think this way. I'm saying that it's a possible logic path that people will take that to that extreme. That you there are people that, and we call these zealots, people that are intent on really trying to satisfy God to the point of being pretty extremist on that end of they're zealots. The zealots were the remember that guy that in the adventures, the guy that's got the big old fist and he's got like all these gems that permit him to do the guy that's hanging around behind him that's revering and hovering around that alien, that's your zealot who's trying to make sense of all the thing and letting all the other superheroes know you don't mess with the guy with the big fist. You don't mess with him because he's going to become super. He's going to become godlike. He's going to bust and destroy everybody. It's a Satan figure. Okay. It's a pretty real threat that somebody else out there is going who doesn't identify with anybody else but himself will turn around and ruin everybody. And you just hope that there's some divine intervention a bit higher there to come in and screw that guy over. That's we got a lot of those guys, and we got the leaders and the leader in China. We got the leader in Korea, and that leader in Korea actually came to our schools to learn how to be a little bit more capable in making decisions. And what are we to say? Hey, come on over, learn how to learn that this American stuff if you really wanted to experience being over here, and then go back to North Korea and tell all you perpetuate the lie that we're all out to get the people in North Korea because they really, and then there are people in North Korea that know the truth but can't go there because the cult of personality is really making them completely subject to making Kim Jong Un the God, making him God. I mean, that perception, the cult personality's perception that Kim Jong Un is, or even in China, that what's his name, Xi Jinping, they are godlike. It's not that they're God; it's that they have so much control that you have to be in fear for your life because they're great. They have enough control and enough stuff in place that they can drive people to the amount of insanity that some people got in China, that somehow the Chinese were able to get into their mind, and people didn't understand enough or educate enough to know what schizophrenia was. And supposedly the Chinese have figured out how to engineer schizophrenia. Yeah. They did it with a group of people, and these people think that there's chips inside their head. They're reading their mind. They're dealing with schizophrenia. It was chemically induced schizophrenia. Believe me, that's what it is. And why don't we have this technology? Because we are not as fucked up as they are. We didn't do this kind of fuckage to the people in Guantanamo Bay. We were trying that Guantanamo, that waterboarding stuff. That whole idea was some nuts that said we can get pretty close to torture without killing the people. We can drive them to the extreme, ruin them psychologically without killing them, because the FDA or whoever is determining, and we put them out of Guantanamo Bay so we don't have to give them citizen rights and stuff. and it's really going to kind of be on the level of the amount of rights that a soldier gets when they go on a battlefield. And we could do this to soldiers, but we're doing it to these people that we don't consider to be human practically. We're just going to torture them and get them to say the things we want them to say so we can attribute to them that they're terrorists, and then that they'll give us intelligence. Never got 1 ounce of intelligence out of it. Never got one, and thank God that God intervened in this process. God brought Satan in and blew away these motherfuckers. And some military types out there listening to this and saying, how can you say that about our American language? Super prideful patriot motherfuckers, you are going to have to go find some cliff to jump off of, not to die, but to realize how close you're going to come to feeling the effects of what God might do with you, even though you don't believe. You think you're tough as a military person, and you might come out and beat me up over it, but you're not tough. I'm not tough enough for that. And that is, when you put the American flag between you and God, it's called bringing an idol before. It's the Pope, what the Catholics do with the Pope, what the military and our government does with the U.S. flag. You think that's fucked up? My father, who was working for Lanel, Christian, working for Lanel, creating technology to reduce the level of nuclear waste to something manageable so that people could survive doing it. This guy, who's probably done more for America than you've ever done in the military, and there are people who can test it, and I will include in this, and I'm name dropping here, former DOE Lanel president, knew my father and knew him well and loved him, and it was back and forth pretty much. His name will come to me. The guy with glasses, his gray hair and whatever. Even the guy who headed J Division, really, Jay Norman. Hey Jay, how's it going? Knows my father. Pretty much everybody in Los Alamos knows my father to some extent, okay? I could name off names and it would scare the fuck out of you as a military, if not you, your higher ups, okay? I'm not going to go there, okay? His father told me that his father would not pledge allegiance to the flag. That was such a new and radical idea. And his father was more conservative than the conservatives now think they're conservative. These conservatives we have now are falling down on the job over a 100-year period, and it was because the radical capitalists were able to manipulate their religion enough to make them accept the part in the Bible where it says a rich man can exist in heaven because, hey, with God anything is possible. Why did Jesus wait until that? Even in the visual, I'm doing this according to Visual Bible, but was the rich man within earshot, the guy that came to him, I said, I've done everything I've done, Lord. What else is there for me to do? And it says, give all you have to the poor and you will be perfect. The guy goes away sad because he had such great riches. Well, that little bit that we got in our Bible, if no Christians understand what's going on there, if they don't fully understand that Judas Iscariot's greed for that those coins that the Pharisees gave him to give Jesus a kiss of death, if they don't fully understand why Jesus went into the temple and made a whip to go around and drive out the all these capitalists that were in the temple, and he turned around and he say, "You will not make my Father's house a den for thieves and robbers." Okay, because what they were doing was they were selling people the sacrificial animals for them to go in and then take their lives. What really you'd have to do is develop a relationship with the animal and then go in and take their lives. They were basically streamlining the process of developing. They were streamlining. I'm going to have to cut this video off. How in the world I can get to 20 minutes of talking? They were streamlining the process of sacrificing, of atoning for their sins. And Jesus is like, this is fucked up, and went in there and screwed with it. And it's the only time you'd see Jesus really kind of doing something super violent. He didn't kill anybody. He just overturned tables. But the thing that's really freaky about this, and it's my video stopped before, I'm not going to go there.